Okay, welcome to the third video. Where are we?
Which type of decision you mean?
Yes.
I think it's number 3, number 2. Number 2, probably.
Okay, this will go for the bloopers for sure. Okay, welcome to the third video in this little series on the 4 decisions we make in chess. We have reached the second type of decision, which is simple decisions. Simple decisions are generally the moves we make most of in a game of chess. They're not deep. We're trying to make good moves, but yeah, we don't have to calculate a lot. We don't have to anticipate deeply. Sometimes we can turn a simple decision into a strategic moment if we try to think very deeply. And in this way, this model is flexible. We can all play chess in different ways still. But in this position, kind of like in this type of position, here's black to play. It's a normal position. Nothing special is happening. It's a game between Ding Liren as white and Vladislav Kovalev as black. Played at the World Juniors in 2012. Two later absolute top players, of course. And already at this point, Ding Liren was almost 2,700. So normal position. Black's maybe very slightly worse, but for these kind of decisions, grandmasters will often use their intuition. They'll look at different things and just see what they like best and feel their way, and that way come to a decision. But if you want to train in this, I published a book about this, which has been used both by normal club players or ambitious young players and by very seasoned grandmasters for their training. And I have to say I was very surprised when David Navarra told me that he liked the book a lot, and he had a lot of suggestions for me. So in future editions there will be some things changed. For example, he had spelling suggestions regarding his own name. So I misspelled it one place, and I'm very sorry about that, David. I do know how to spell your name. So let's say you don't know this position. I have used this with a lot of students, and some find the right move and some don't. But let's try to use this method of the 3 questions. If you want to do this yourself, you should stop the video in a moment. First, I'll tell you the 3 questions. The first is, where are the weaknesses? Second one is, what is my opponent's idea? And the third one is, which is the worst placed piece? And you'll put some graphic up with it. And you should go through these questions, and then you should decide for yourself what you think. It's not a test where there's a definite answer. It's always, what do we think in the positions? What do we think is important? And then after that, you should sort of look and, okay, what can I do that? What does that inspire me to do? And then come with a guess within a few minutes. And since you have already done that, and welcome back, now we're going to do it with you. Okay, where are the weaknesses?
Obviously, there is a weakness on d4.
There's a weakness on d4, okay. There we go.
And basically that's it for white, I guess.
For white, yeah, and for black?
For black, we have this f5 pawn, which looks a bit out of place.
You think that's a bit weak? I will claim that everybody is defending it.
Yeah, I mean,
but yeah, it's you. Okay, you're gonna get it your way. Any weak squares?
d5.
The d5 square is quite an important square, yeah. And also, I would probably say e5 square.
Yes.
It's a strong square for the opponent. Because it's not well defended. If our pawn was an f6, our position would be much better. What would be the best move if the pawn's on f6?
To put it back on f7?
You know, I think you need to go back and watch the previous video on candidate moves.
Ah, okay. Yeah.
What would be the best move if the pawn was on f6?
Queen takes d3.
Queen takes d3. That will probably be the only thing you get right in this series. Okay, let's continue on. What do you think is the opponent's idea? What would be his next move, for example? He doesn't have a deep strategic idea here. He just has the next move coming.
I quite like the move of d4, d5, maybe, or preparing
You like the move of d5? Okay.
To open the bishops, you know, or preparing this.
It's d5 is. Let's just say that for a moment. Well, I'm just going to say the variation. If white plays d4, d5, then you're going to have some kind of exchange somewhere. Let's say I play bishop f4. You move the rook, and then we take a lot of times on d5. I play bishop c6. I have two bishops, and
Yeah, so
everything is just golden for me.
yeah, so 95 is
95 is the main problem here. White will play knight e5. When it comes to e5, you have to take it. And white will take back with the pawn. So suddenly he gets a very strong protected passed pawn. He gets the advantage of the two bishops. And the game goes on. But it's not very much fun, is it?
Agreed.
So, okay, so what is the third question?
The worst placed piece.
Yes, which one is the worst placed piece?
Okay, for white, I cannot really say that there is.
You can have two.
Okay, the bishop on c3 is not great, but it has a function, so
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that it is the worst placed.
Well, it sort of is, but it can become good very easily. Yeah.
After 95, definitely.
Where's it going, by the way? After 95, yes, it will be happy here, but otherwise, where's it going?
Yeah, d2, it can
No,
be
it's-
b4.
We'll probably go to b4 and annoy black and force the exchange of bishops, maybe. Put some pressure on him. That's likely. We just have to keep this idea in mind. And for black, what's the worst placed piece?
Bishop on d7, I think.
You think bishop on d7? And also the knight on b6, you know, that want to go here, yeah? Where does the bishop want to go? Same place, yeah?
Yes.
Same place. Okay. So now I'm gonna very quickly take away all these arrows. And let's see. There we go. Oh! So I think that's a fairly basic analysis, and I think most people with some level of chess can, if not fully do this, then they can at least follow it. So that's useful, and that gives us an inspiration to what to play.
Can I suggest one?
Yeah, you should suggest a move.
Okay, my first instinct is to check bishop e6, but obviously I have to calculate 95. What happens?
Well, you can simply play bishop e5,
yes, and take the
and
bishop.
then the bishop's hanging on a2, and if bishop e6, and then you have bishop h2 check, and rook takes e6, you pawn up. So, but of course, white can take on e6 and play knight e5, and then we can choose if we want to take. Let's try bishop e6 here, and if takes and takes, if he plays knight e5, we can consider queen e8, for example, and then play knight d5, or we could even consider taking a knight d5. I would play queen e8. I don't see a big reason to take the knight. The knight on d5 will be very strong, and the d4 pawn remains weak. So I have a main line which goes like this. Here, and black's got this knight coming to d5, which is nice. And white will have a knight at an e5, which is nice. Both players have a decent position. And it's chess. It's very normal like this. It's not a critical moment all the time. I should just say that, sorry, that's what he played. Here on bishop, if bishop b1, then we put the bishop on d5. And
Yeah, bishop comes to
then
e4.
now knight e5 is not good. Why not?
I take and bishop e4.
You take and bishop e4. Okay, should we put it on the board and see if people can have a better candidate move here?
Ah, yes, there's also a checkmate.
Yes. That's not going for the bloopers, by the way.
Okay.
So here we have checkmate. It's always good. You really should return to this video on seeing things.
Okay.
So I just want to show some few other things. Like knight d5 Could be a move some people would consider, just bringing the knight into the good square. But in this case, if we have something like this, a double threat on here, and if take, this is positional nightmare. Bad bishop against good knight. This could happen to many normal players, I think. Also the most popular move when I show this is for exercise, and I've showed it maybe to 100 people, is rook e4 as he played, which is a horrible move, because after knight e5 there's simply nothing. Here there's some idea of rook g4 and miracle happens, but it's not an attacking position. White is very well placed. Our pieces are not all in great attacking position. There are no weaknesses around the king. Why should it work? On the other hand, we have this coming, and then what? This case he has to take it, because queen e8, we just play rook e4 and win a pawn. And if you exchange first on e1, it's I think it's immediately over here. We're going to continue your tactical education here. White to play and win.
Huh. Yeah, it's knight f7 check?
No, because in knight f7, here this is a math thing, I think. Here this does win, but oh gosh. Now I'm embarrassing myself. Yes, no, of course this wins. I was thinking it was 3 pieces here, but the bishop remains, so I should watch video 2. We definitely keep this. I thought just knight c6 was very simple. And also wins. It's a pawn better than the other variation.
Yeah.
But of course knight f7 is right, and it was my original intention. I thought, no, sorry, it's 3 pieces. Maybe I'm making a trick. But okay, so
we should tell the people that we are the last few days we are making very basic exercises. I feel that I have dropped.
Yeah, well, the thing is, we are selecting very simple exercises from scratch series, but we're not solving them. Clearly. Yeah. Okay, so here take. In the game, he took an e1, and after moving the rook, it was threatened. Played here, and it's 2 bishops, and pass pawn, and he won in another 60 moves, which we will skip. I just want to show one thing here in this position. If we do this silly rook g4, which of course now is entirely pointless, actually white just plays e6, because the g file is good for white, not for black. After take and take, it's coming through on g7. So okay, besides seeing us making fools of ourselves, I think mine was worse than yours actually. I think we made a little introduction to what a simple decision is. It's normal position during a game, and simple doesn't mean easy. This is a very important point. But it also doesn't mean that we're just guessing or intuition or some kind of magic, which you sometimes can read about in chess literature. This is what I call positional chess. It's not extremely deep, but it doesn't mean it's easy. There's a very difficult part of chess, and we are to some extent guessing, but we also should make good guesses. We should develop our ability to guess. And I wrote this book, Positional Play, with a lot of exercises in this, and I developed this method of the 3 questions, which originally started with being 12 questions, because I found out that in my life, whatever it was, finding answers to things was very easy. It was to find out what the questions were that was difficult.
Exactly.
And for that reason, I thought, if I apply this to chess and chess training, wouldn't it be great if the questions were always the same? And I found out that these 3 questions, where are the weaknesses? That's the pawns we lose, it's the weak pawns. It's the weak square we get mated on. It's the weak square the opponent dominates. What's the opponent's idea? He makes every second move. We should be aware of what he's doing. If we're not, it comes a knight comes out of hell and kicks the head of our queen or something like this.
I think, Jakob, this is the biggest problem for a club player.
But also, I actually disagree. I think the biggest problem is which is the worst placed piece.
Yeah.
Because in chess, it's we need to make use of all our pieces. In other sports, let's say football, which I often compare this with, you wouldn't have a few players on the bench. But unlike football, you send all 11 in from the start, and they're there, and they run around at the same time. In chess, you can only move one of them at a time. So sometimes there's a tendency to wanting to do something with the pieces that are already playing, rather than making sure all the pieces are in the game. And we always have this question, which is the worst placed piece? Then, you know, sometimes you realize, that guy over there isn't doing anything. And the second worst thing a piece can be is have no function. And the worst thing it can be is having no function, but being in the way. And you see this in positions again and again. In the beginning, the knight and the bishop in the first rank, not only have they no function, or almost no function, they're also in the way of the rook, of the castle. And when I say castle, it's not a stupid word for rook, it's for castling. So this is an important part to develop in chess, and many even very strong players struggle with this, and I could go into a very long talk about this, but I think we have exhausted this theme for a short video.
Mm-hmm.
Good, so we'll see you in video number 4 on that's a bloopers one, critical moment.
Yeah.
See you later.